The life of a common Kenyan man is becoming difficult and more complicated, especially with the advent of the Finance Bill 2026, should the status quo maintain as it is. First, there are very key products that are touching directly to the life of that common citizen. To begin with, the digital taxation. We are talking about mobile money transfer, which is again intended to be increased, meaning the person to bear that burden is you, the common Mwananchi. The results are going to be huge tariffs when it comes to calling, huge tariffs when it comes to sending money, huge tariffs when it comes to using the internet. And we get to ask ourselves, who brought all these problems? Yes, it is your elected member of parliament. It is them who do legislation. It is them who pass laws. But as it is in Kenya, the legislature has decided to go in bed with the executive. It is a matter of one phone call and everything changes from the citizens' interest to the executive interest. Even the judiciary has now learned how to go into bed with an executive, leaving the common man with no one to fight for themselves. Number two, we have the rental income, which as we speak is at 7.5%. The finance bill is proposing it to be at 10%. And you know, as usual, your landlady or your landlord will not agree to take the burden of his or her income being cut, but rather will adjust it in a manner that will affect you, the person who is renting that house, meaning they will have to increase the prices of rent. At the end of the day, the adverse effect is felt by you, the common Kenyan man. There are so much in this bill that the introduction of certain bills are touching directly on common Mwananchi's life is just but a gesture to show how leaders' greed has superseded the interest of the common Mwananchi. But what are we going to do? Yes, the Constitution tells us that the sovereign power belongs to the people, which they can decide to exercise directly or indirectly by having representatives who are their chosen leaders. Now, anytime Kenyans try to demonstrate their sovereign right using that which is provided for in the Constitution that was promulgated in 2010, they are being called criminals. They are being met with abject force. At the end of the day, the result is state-sanctioned abductions, extrajudicial killings, and threats that are so heart-wrenching. Well, about your electronic gadgets, also, there are proposed taxes which might see your gadgets becoming more expensive than they are at the point of purchase. For those who deal in crypto, those who deal with bettings, yes, government is coming for your money, and alas, the right to access your transaction records, not only in your bank accounts, but also in your M-Pesa or whatever money transfer in terms of digital money you are using. So if you cannot justify how you got the money and what you're going to use it for, then the taxman might not allow you to just file nil return. And alas, they want to push the filing of returns, or rather take it back from the 6th month of the financial year to the 4th month of the financial year. As it is, we do file returns latest by June, the end of June. Now they want to make it by the end of April. And for those who are filing nil return, you will be forced to do this by 31st of January of a financial year. Well said, but as we try to give this civic education in whatever civic spaces that we have, is the common Mwananchi ready to understand that document which has been presented to them as a draft of the bill before it goes to the floor of the parliament, read, goes through the various readings and passed? Well, the document is at large. The question is, the language used is not your typical English that you are used to. It is English embedded in law. It is English that requires you to understand what the previous bill was talking about or is talking about. Because the language is expunge X, introduce Y. Delete section 2A and or then replace with. So if you don't understand that section 2A, it will be difficult for you to get to understand this. That is why you have to find somebody who is going to break it down for you. Like personally, there's nothing much I can do, just but go to the specifics that I know are touching directly to the common Mwananchi's life. And yes, I was forgetting about the mitumba. You will be forced to pay certain tax overally by the assumption of the government on the profit that you're going to make. Now, if the government assumes that by you bringing in these mitumba goods, you are going to make a profit of 5,000, then directly at the point of entry, you will be taxed. They will never want to know whether you're going to make a loss or a profit. And as we know, those mitumba clothes, not everything in there you get to sell it. So yes, the taxman is pressing hard for you, not forgetting that the fuel prices have already been hiked. The matatu owners the other day agreed to a 7-day period in which if their grievances are not met, the strike will be on again. But that is them on the other side, and here is we on this side. I was watching a report on the mainstream media whereby we thought by them agreeing to stop the demonstrations or the protests with regards to fuel, the fares will not be hiked. But to Kenyans' surprise, it is now them still going back to their pockets to adjust to the fares that have been increased by the same matatu owners. Didi Nyoro says something about the sticky prices, and I tend to agree with him. You see, when fuel prices hiking, most of the goods progressively also go up. Let's talk about the fares. Let's talk about the basic commodities tomatoes, onions, they go up. But what happens if the fuel prices again are being revised by April, by every 14th of every month, and the fuel prices come down? The fare that was already bought, will it come down? More oftenly not. The sticky prices. So who again is paying the price of the atrocities committed against the people of Kenya? It is the same common Mwananchi. Let us choose wisely, Kenyans. We are facing a difficult time, and this is the time that we should know better the type of leaders that we are electing to represent us, direct from the MCAs through to the president. What's your take on this? If you like content of such nature and you're watching from my YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and press the notification button, so anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Halif is my name for the Unscripted Talks here in Dub Radio. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dub Radio ndio mpango mzima.